In his book, Paranormality, Why We See What Isn't There, psychologist Professor Richard Wiseman takes readers on a riveting journey into the world of the paranormal. Drawing upon his decades of research and experience investigating supernatural claims, Wiseman provides insights into the psychology behind beliefs in psychic abilities, out-of-body experiences, mind over matter, talking with the dead, ghost hunting, mind control, and prophecy. Rather than simply debunking these phenomena, he delves into the clever psychological principles that explain why people experience and believe in the impossible. Through a mix of real-life cases, historical accounts, and scientific experiments, Wiseman reveals how our minds can deceive us and uncovers the surprising truths behind the paranormal. Wiseman begins by examining the world of psychics, mediums, and astrologers. He introduces the mysterious Mr. D, a professional psychic who convincingly reads people using techniques like flattery, fishing for information, and making vague statements. This cold reading exploits people's tendency to remember hits and forget misses, selective memory, as well as the human mind's ability to find meaning in ambiguous statements, the Barnum effect. For example, a psychic might say, "I sense that you are sometimes insecure, especially with people you don't know very well," which seems personal but would apply to most people. Psychologist Bertram Forer demonstrated this by giving students a personality test, then providing each the same analysis copied from a newsstand astrology column. The students rated the analysis as highly accurate, exemplifying subjective validation. Through these principles, psychics can appear to have uncanny insights into a person's life. Experiments have shown that given the right cues, people find accuracy even in random statements. Understanding cold reading provides a rational explanation for psychic readings without paranormal abilities. Wiseman next explores the strange sensation of leaving one's physical body, common in near-death experiences. While some see this as evidence for the soul, experiments suggest a biological basis. Our sense of being located in our body relies on sensory feedback. Manipulating this, such as with virtual reality goggles, can induce out-of-body illusions. Sleep paralysis, a dreamlike state while the body is immobilized, can also feel like an out-of-body experience when combined with hallucinations. Rather than the soul floating free, out-of-body experiences reflect the brain's ability to integrate sensory information to determine the self's location. Wiseman cites psychologist Susan Blackmore's finding that people who experience out-of-body experiences are better at switching mental perspectives and become more absorbed in imaginative experiences, indicating a propensity to confuse imagination and reality during sensory deprivation. Out-of-body experiences are not glimpses of another plane, but reveal how the embodied self is a mental construction. Alleged psychics like James Heydrich and Uri Geller have claimed the power to move objects with their minds. To investigate, Wiseman breaks down the techniques used to seemingly bend spoons or turn pages without touching them. These include misdirecting attention, secretly blowing on the objects, and having people forget or misremember incriminating details. For instance, Heydrich would glance at the object before looking away as he secretly blew on it. Since the glance seemed insignificant, viewers forgot about it. Another principle is selling a specific narrative through cues like appearance and manner, such as presenting the feat as a spiritual power rather than a magic trick. If the psychic looks the part and acts mysteriously, people may misattribute trickery to genuine ability. Recreating Heydrich's pencil-moving trick reveals how simple techniques can be very deceptive when well applied. Wiseman emphasizes that it's not that people are foolish or unobservant, but that the human brain has quirks of attention and perception that allow us to be misled, given the right presentation. In the heyday of spiritualism in the 19th century, alleged mediums convinced many that they could communicate with the deceased through seances, Ouija boards, and automatic writing. Famous cases like the Fox sisters and Pearl Curran's Patience Worth writings captivated the public as proof of life after death. However, researchers who investigated these phenomena discovered psychological factors at work. Michael Faraday showed that table turning, where spirits allegedly rotated tables, was due to ideomotor movements, small muscular motions that sitters made without realizing it. Similarly, the planchette of a Ouija board is propelled by subconscious prompting rather than ghostly guidance. Automatic writing also arises from the writer's mind, not possession by the dead, as shown when spirits could not relay information the writer didn't know. Experiments revealed that the mere thought of an action initiates preparatory movements outside of awareness. Resisting this tendency during séances actually makes the movement stronger. This is called the ideomotor effect. Far from confirming the supernatural, spiritualist phenomena revealed the influence of subtle muscular impulses and the dynamic unconscious mind. The feeling of voluntary control arises after the unconscious brain has already initiated an action. This research undermined the idea of free will as a ghost in the machine, suggesting that the intuition of conscious agency is a mental construct. Investigating the impossible thus brought scientists closer to understanding the possible workings of the human mind. Reports of ghostly encounters, from apparitions to strange sounds and smells, are widespread in folklore and popular culture. Polls suggest that around 30% of people believe in ghosts and 15% think they've experienced one. Wiseman summarizes research into what characterizes these perceptions and how they can be induced. Sleep-related hallucinations, like the old hag experience of sensing a presence while paralyzed, match many reports of ghostly bedroom visitors. The common thread is that experiences tend to occur in situations involving shifting mental states and ambiguous stimuli, such as the hypnagogic state between waking and sleep. Experiments found that suggestible participants experience more ghostly phenomena when told a location is haunted, which prompts them to attribute normal sights and sounds to the paranormal. Some have proposed that errant electromagnetic fields, infrasound, or geomagnetic activity can spur strange perceptions. While studies have found mixed results for these ideas, the prevailing theory is that haunted perceptions arise through psychological priming and expectation. The human brain is predisposed to overinterpret ambiguous events as intentional agents like spirits, rather than meaningless randomness, a hyperactive agency detection that may have evolved for survival advantages but leads to misattributions. The notion of covert mental influence has an allure in fiction, from the Svengali myth of the manipulative hypnotist to conspiracy theories about brainwashing. Wiseman evaluates the science behind these ideas of mind control. Stage hypnotism, while dramatic in presentation, does not involve dominating the subject's will, as experiments found hypnotized participants would not genuinely imperil themselves. Demonstrations of brainwashing techniques are often less convincing under controlled conditions. However, studies of social influence, obedience, and conformity show the subtle ways beliefs and behaviors are shaped. The Clever Hans case, where a horse appeared to calculate math problems, revealed how animals and people can unconsciously respond to cues from observers. In the Dr. Fox study, an actor giving a nonsense lecture was rated as highly competent, showing the power of impression over substance. Cult leaders use thought reform techniques like control of information, self-incrimination, and peer pressure to instill compliance. The practical lesson is to be aware of context and bias in communication, and that no one is wholly immune to well-targeted persuasion. Understanding propaganda and manipulation tactics is thus part of critical thinking, alongside managing our own cognitive quirks. Throughout history, people have reported prophetic dreams that seem to predict future events. Examples include the oft-repeated anecdote about Abraham Lincoln's dream foreshadowing his assassination. Research shows that people have far more dreams than they remember, most of them reflecting everyday anxieties. Inevitably, some dreams will coincide with events just by chance, and these are then recalled more vividly than the non-predictive ones. Additionally, news of a tragedy can trigger false memories of a relevant dream, which gets elaborated with details in hindsight. With thousands of dreams happening every night, it's statistically certain that some will match notable events. A study collecting alleged premonitions of the Lindbergh baby kidnapping found minimal overlap with the actual facts of the case. Experiments testing the prophetic content of dreams under controlled conditions find no evidence for prognostication. Instead, seemingly predictive elements in dreams come from the dreamer's existing knowledge and expectations being incorporated into the dream scenario. While people seldom remember more than snatches of a few dreams, 80% of dream content is negative. This unpleasant skew means that a dream will more often predict a bad event than a happy one. As with other paranormal experiences, a rational analysis undermines the prophetic power of dreams. While supernatural beliefs have always been prevalent, relatively few scholars have actually put these peculiar phenomena to the test. Through the work of the intrepid researchers that Wiseman profiles, a body of knowledge has taken shape about the psychology underlying the paranormal. Time and again, the uncanny crumbles under scrutiny, revealed to be artifacts of quirks in perception, memory, and reasoning. The human brain's astonishing abilities of pattern recognition, mental simulation, and social intuition get hijacked to produce phantom correlations and agencies. Yet these strange experiences, however deceptive, illuminate the practical magic of the mind's machinery. It's not foolish to feel wonder at mystery. The key is to keep probing for natural causes alongside the marvel. To resolve these paradoxes is to push the boundaries of the possible. By venturing into the impossible and returning with real insights, investigators of the paranormal chart the landscape of the normal. Illusory as they are, the phenomena described herein vividly demonstrate very real facets of how minds make meaning. Far from a killjoy scolding, Wiseman urges readers to embrace life's authentic marvels instead of chasing chimeras. There is grandeur in understanding why we are wired for the weird. A world explained loses none of its luster. Pseudo-solutions cheat us of grander revelations. In a cosmos so vast, a mind so intricate, and a reality so rich, one need not turn to the paranormal to find endless avenues of astonishment. An appreciation for the genuine glories of nature, which surpass and encompass the fantasies of supernature, is the proper paranormal activity. To see what isn't there is to discover what really is.